Good morning, Incarnation Parish family. Hi, my name is Jeb. I am the coordinator of youth ministry at the parish, and with me today, we are taking over the Incarnation Church podcast. With me today is my core team of teenagers who have committed themselves to the task of making disciples out of our young people. So, this is a podcast about becoming dynamic Catholics, and let's go ahead and introduce our team.
Okay. Hi, I'm Brianna. I'm in my first year of college and I'm majoring in nursing.
Hi, my name is Lauren, and I'm a senior in high school.
Hi, my name's Sabrina. I'm in my second year of college and I'm studying kinesiology and music.
Hi, I'm Christiane, and I'm a senior in high school.
I'm Alejandro, and I'm a senior in high school.
All right, thank you guys for introducing yourselves. So, as I mentioned, you guys are part of our youth ministry core team. So, the first thing I wanted to, to ask you guys, with regards to our ministry towards the young people of our parish is, I want you guys to kind of tell us about your experience in youth ministry, like what you guys have been involved with at Incarnation, whether it's like confirmation class or whether it's youth group. Um, so what was your experience with youth ministry, and what made you guys decide to stay on and become a core team member? All right. Yeah, I'll start with you, Christian.
Oh, okay. Okay, so for me, I've actually been at Inca my whole entire life. Like, I went to preschool here because the school I was gonna go to was actually Holy Family, but I couldn't go there because they didn't have a preschool, and Incarnation had that. So I've just been at Incarnation since preschool until 8th grade, and then I went to high school. So after that 8th grade year, I didn't really have any extracurriculars regarding church. I was in the children's choir, so then because I knew a lot of the people that were in confirmation, I just decided to stay there when I was doing confirmation. And I feel like I've actually had a much better experience as like a core team member, because then you actually feel like you find like reason in like helping these kids learn or like guiding their path of discernment. And I thought it was so much fun because I was seeing people that I've seen around at like church all the time but haven't really talked to. And I feel like just coming back was a way to like really understand the community around me.
Right, great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Brianna, I know you've been in confirmation program.
Yes.
Right. That was before I came in.
Yeah.
How was your experience there, and what made you decide to come back?
So I was in the church my whole life. I had my baptism, first Holy Communion, and I joined the confirmation sessions, but it was obviously a different leader at that time. So like the sessions were joined together, but I feel like I didn't learn that much, or maybe I just didn't take any of the information, or I never took it serious. And so it wasn't until after I got confirmed that I like stopped going to church because I don't know. Like I guess I ended the confirmation, so I never took it seriously. I never thought so. And I was introduced to you at the Inca Fair, and you offered me to be part of the team and like do the training first. And I was a little hesitant at first. I told my mom, she's like, no, I think it would be like a great opportunity. So when I showed up to the session, the training session, it like really clicked to me. I don't know, like I was like, wow, like the Lord is so amazing. Like I get to learn myself again and like redo it in a sense, and also help the kids grow their relationship and like take it serious and learn more about God.
So it's kind of like the turning point for you was when you joined core team.
Yeah.
Actually, that's when you kind of realized that all the stuff that you were learning when you were in confirmation.
Yeah.
That kind of clicked now.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, thank you so much. Sabrina, what about you?
Well, same as both of these guys, I've been at Inca like since I was a kid.
Right.
Difference between me though is I didn't do the schooling at Incarnation.
Right.
So I hopped through a different couple of schools. I also went out of country for a bit, so that was interesting. So I've grown up in the church. I'm very known with the mothers and grandmothers and grandparents, but not really with the youth. And I think joining confirmation, my confirmation was a bit strange since I joined a year later because I kind of pushed against my mom when she first wanted me to go to confirmation, but then I went when it was my own choice, which was, it meant that I was in a younger grade, but it meant that it was my own choice to go into
Right.
it. I definitely would agree though that going into confirmation completely changes, like, you're showing up because you want to and not because you have to.
Exactly.
It's like a time commitment that we choose to take out of our days every weekend, sometimes on life nights. It takes a lot of time sometimes, and it's a lot of sacrifice at times, but it's a thing that we choose to do. And I think all of us, I mean, some of us have been in confirmation now as leaders for 2 years, and I think we all have grown immensely. Also, practicing public speaking, working with kids, having to practice our faith every
Right.
Sunday
Mhm.
in confirmation speeches, and
Right.
working with different age groups, and also these different kids who are all in different stages of their lives. I definitely think challenges us to different levels. And it's just also been nice, like, me and Christian went to choir together as kids,
Right. Yeah.
and like
yeah.
how our relationship
Mhm.
changed, like in friendship over being confirmation together. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it's interesting that we like see hearing your different answers, and we see different paths towards the faith, and that's one thing that we really kind of let our young people know is that the faith journey is really not a straight line. It's not, you really don't know when it's gonna click for you. Like, for example, for you, it was after
Yeah,
confirmation. For you, it's
exactly.
like it took some time for the process, right? So yeah, it really kind of proves what we kind of want to let the kids know, that the faith is not gonna be a straight line.
But the thing is, even when
Yeah.
it does click, it's not necessarily going to stay consistent.
Yeah.
That
Hundred
depends
percent,
with
yeah.
whatever you're facing in your life.
Right.
There's times where you become really hopeful, and there's
Mhm.
times it's just like you're in complete despair, even if you've gotten to a point already in your past that you've been really
Exactly.
strong in your faith.
Exactly.
But I think this confirmation gives us something to show up to and, like, keep
Mhm.
us accountable.
Right, right. Alejandro, how about you? How was your what is your story? How has your faith journey progressed? As I know in my first year as a youth minister, it was your second year in the confirmation program, and then you've come back as a core team leader. Tell us about your own journey.
My faith journey.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
I started off in a really religious household. Specifically, my grandma was really influential in that.
Right.
To the point where it was almost like I didn't want to,
Mm.
like,
Okay.
practice the faith, because it was like more of like a strict, orderly way.
Mm-hmm.
It was that kind of like repressive sort of thing. Like, oh, I just see it as my grandma being restrictive on me. Like, I have to do this, I have to do that. So
Right.
then that was the early stages. But then when I came to confirmation for my first year, I started saying, like, okay, maybe it's not all that bad, but maybe I'm not fully into it.
Mm.
But then the second year comes around, and then after the retreats and the different sessions that we have, I'm starting to warm up to the community that I have there, Inca.
Mhm.
Mind you, I wasn't at Inca for like most of my life. It
Right.
was I've only been here for like 7 or 8 years.
Right.
So yeah, Inca was very influential in that.
Mhm.
So after I find this community through the confirmation classes, I decided to come back because maybe I didn't want other kids to feel like, oh, this is like a strict sort of thing that they had to
Mhm.
do, is something that they want to do, and like to show them that this is like maybe what they want to do, instead of like it's like they have to.
It is a
Yeah.
personal choice, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. Lauren, how about you? You came into our core team this year. You've helped out a little bit last year, especially with doing a lot of video recording. So, how has your journey been as well?
So I like Christiane. We were in the same class. We're at Inca, or me since kindergarten, Christiane since preschool. And so originally, like my mom is really Catholic, but my dad isn't. So it was
Mhm.
kind of a fight for me
Mm.
to go to public or private school.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom like won, I guess. So so I went to Inca. So from that, like in sixth grade in Academica, like I would do like religion for like individual
Right.
and the super quiz.
Mm-hmm.
But then in high school, me and my mom or my mom told me that like in the Philippines she got confirmed in like one day. So
Okay.
we kind of
Mhm.
found it like, do I really need to do confirmation here?
Mm.
So I didn't do confirmation like with everyone else, like in their freshman and
Right.
sophomore year
Right.
of high school.
Mhm.
But then last school year, Enzo, he's also in core team.
Yes.
He was a senior last
Mhm.
year, and for at Providence where we both went for high school, you have to do a senior capstone project. So he
Mhm.
decided to do a documentary
Right.
on the confirmation program.
Right.
So since I like to do like film and everything, he asked if I wanted to film.
Mm.
So that was the reason why I started going to like a few like confirmation classes
Right.
just
The
to
youth
like
group as well.
yeah, just to
Mhm.
like film. But
Right.
then after that, maybe like it was like during like the second or third time, Jeb asked me if I wanted to be on core team.
Right.
And then my first answer was like I'm not confirmed though.
Mm.
But then you said like
It's,
uh y-
we'll help you with the process.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. So
Mhm.
after that, I just decided to join core team.
Yeah. We're
And
looking forward to getting
yeah.
you confirmed as well. Yeah. Awesome. Well, so thank you guys for sharing your journeys. You know, that's like everyone has a unique story, you know, as to how, you know, we've all gone into youth ministry. And one thing I wanted to ask you guys, and you know, this is really kind of based on what you've all done, you know, for our young people. What's like the coolest thing about being a core team member? Anyone can answer.
The friendships. I feel like the
Mm,
friendships we made.
right.
Like
Yeah.
I didn't have my confirmation with them, but the first time I met them, like we all instantly clicked,
Right.
and so like, we would always hang out. But also like
Mhm.
helping the kids too, where we got to like help them and guide them through it, and like
Right.
be their small group leaders and like get
Mhm.
to know them a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely help them.
Yeah. Anyone else? Like Christian? Oh, Sabrina.
I think a cool moment, which isn't always very like something that happens a lot, but when we do get breakthroughs with some of the students and we get more heart to heart moments,
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm.
I think, I mean, as per when we were in confirmation,
Right.
but we all
Mhm.
have our walls up really high,
Mhm.
especially at that age, because we're all so sensitive and so much is happening that
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
putting a facade's a lot easier to walk through a room
Mhm.
like that. But there's some moments where that breaks down, and it's like you can really see that your words are getting through the kids
Mhm.
and not just passing through their ears.
Right.
And I think that's a really special moment, and it's really fun. Or we've done a couple sessions where we'd be in like the dark with candlelights and have our music singing moments.
Right.
And
Praise and worship.
I think it's
Mhm.
cool when you can tell like the kids have been touched, because it's not always common.
Yeah.
So
It's
when it
not,
happens,
yeah.
it's very rewarding to see that
Mhm.
your words actually got through at some point.
It is.
And it's just part of
yeah.
the game.
Mhm.
It's normal, but when it works, it's like, oh, that felt nice.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Yep.
Definitely.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. To
Mhm.
like add on to that,
Yeah.
especially with like our relationship with the children, I feel like it's like really cool. Like besides like the friendships and like those moments, it's
Mhm.
just like kind of having like a greater sense of understanding for the children. It's like we kind of grew up in like the same generation with them, or it's like we've been through like their past years just so
Mhm.
recently
Right.
to where we understand where like their mind is, and it's like we could kind of help them more in a sense. So I feel like just understanding them more is kind of like it kind of just helps. It's just like it's just nice, or like
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Could
Yeah.
I add something? to
Yeah.
that?
Yes, of course. Mhm.
I think also as like all of us have, I mean, not you yet. You're gonna get there soon, but I mean,
Mhm.
most of us have been confirmed either like just a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
think what's cool about being confirmation on the core team is that we get to take our own experience and implement what we wish we had and be the leaders that we may have craved when we were in confirmation. And also like things that we know that didn't click with us because this just wasn't set up for like to be entertaining enough to keep
Mhm.
our attention, or things like we can now do that
Mhm.
and implement things that are more relatable for them, because
Right.
we know that that's what
Mhm.
we would have wanted.
Right, right. And it's great that, you know, that you guys kind of saw, you know, like as soon as I came in, like the reason that you're in core team now is that you kind of saw the potential of how what we can make with this ministry, you know. Like this is our goal, like evangelization. And I want to ask you, Christian, because I've seen you in a situation where you evangelize to someone one on one, like you were able to talk and share your faith with someone, like as confirmation class, and you were able to share your faith with someone who was he was kind of like not he wasn't the most sociable because he was like alone in that session, and I remember you talking to him and like really having that good conversation. How was that like?
Um, to be honest, I don't think we were like really just focusing on confirmation.
All right.
It's like reaching the children and like especially in an environment that they're maybe like not that comfortable in. It's kind of just knowing them first.
Right.
And I feel like that conversation that we had, it was like kind of where he was like opening his doors to like actually wanting to speak out about things. It's like we
Yeah.
can't like in that sense, I just really wanted to talk to him because in that when you're just one on one with someone, it's not like, oh, what do you think about confirmation? It's like I have to know them first, or it's like you have to like open their doors to like, because you don't know their faith journey. It's like
Yes.
I can't assume that this person obviously just is here because they want to be there. It's like I have to know like that person first, and I feel like that moment was when I was learning who he was. Yeah, and I feel like ever since then, it's kind of like his faith journey was more so open to the fact that there can be a God, or open to the fact that, oh, maybe this is something that I want, or something that I don't want. And I still don't know what he thinks about it. But I just think that knowing that conversation where I was just understanding who he was just what took so long because it was just like knowing them on a personal level.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the heart of youth ministry. The heart of youth ministry is all about relationships. It's all about evangelization. It's not really about coming up to someone and saying, "Hey, you know what? This is what Jesus is." You know, it's not. That's not really the first step. The first step is like really getting to know someone and really planning. And based on what based on that conversation, then that becomes like the heart of of the initial step of planting that seed. And that's really the responsibility that all of us have in youth ministry is to be able to create those relationships with young people so that as we know them better we get to know they get to know who Jesus is through our example. And having said that, what I wanted to ask you guys also is, I know that there's a lot of blessings that come with being in youth ministry, but there's also a lot of challenges. So what I wanted to ask you guys is like, what are some of the biggest challenges that you guys have had as youth ministers? Because all of us are tasked to be ministers to young people. And what are those some of those challenges that you guys have faced um, as as part of our core team in youth ministry?
Keeping their attention.
Oh my gosh.
Keeping their attention
Yes.
is really hard.
Yes.
Especially when they're with their friends.
Mm.
So it makes it a little bit more
Right.
difficult.
Classroom management it is always something that we need to kind of really prioritize, especially with catechesis. Like youth group life nights, it's more free flowing, it's
Yeah.
more carefree. But when it comes to like actually teaching the faith and and actually talking to them about about Jesus and talking to them um about relationships, that's where it becomes a little bit challenging. Yeah,
Yeah.
Christian, you want to add something or?
Oh, to add on to like reaching them, like in like certain sessions, it's kind of like yeah, there's this definite barrier of like because they're in a stance like a stage of their life where they're so conflicted to change
Exactly.
and like everything around them is basically contradictory. I feel like those first high school years where a lot of people do confirmation
Right.
is like people are still learning themselves. And I
Exactly.
feel like
Yeah.
I still didn't know who I was until probably senior year or like what I want to do. It's like these are like forming times for them where like people are like there's breakups, like friend breakups and everything happening, which I feel like everyone goes through, but especially at those like that forming time of their life, like it's harder to reach them in like an like external factor of their life or like something that's close to them, which is like confirmation. So I feel like we have to like break more barriers or like
Get to
Just,
get
like-
to know them a little
yeah,
bit
get
better.
to know them more. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we have to like put in more work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I feel like that's kind of a challenge or just trying to get to know them more, especially because there's a lot of that.
Right. And the thing is also with like you mentioned classroom management earlier. So the thing is like you mentioned also putting that facade. Like I can speak for myself. Like when I was when I was your age, like me with my friends is totally different from me alone.
Yeah.
Like like we see it with the kids, like when they're with their friends, it's a totally different dynamic. It's hard to
Yeah.
get their attention. Have to keep reminding them stay focused. Lock in. But then when
Like, yes.
it sounds like, but then though, when you have those, like I've had conversations in the entrance interviews, and when you have one-on-ones with them, that's
Yeah.
when they really, that's when they you kind of see who they are,
Yeah.
Well, I
and that's a
think
challenge. Yeah.
there we're all in high school. Like, it's
Mhm.
hard. You don't really know who you are.
Mm,
You're balancing between friend groups.
right.
I mean, I know in my experience, like,
Mhm.
everyone acts different when we're with our friends versus by ourselves. It's just pretty normal.
Right.
I think that definitely, just as much as like getting through them is the most rewarding part, not being able to get through to them is the most frustrating and challenging
Yeah.
part.
Yes.
And the most dumbfounding part at
Right.
sometimes,
Right.
because you're just there and you're like, I've tried and I don't know how to do this anymore. And I've worked since I was like a kid with different age groups, whether it was through sports and teaching,
Right.
or when I'm working with my performances and I'm like working with different crowds. Like, I'm pretty used to speaking to different types of crowds.
Mhm.
But definitely, I think confirmation has been the most difficult, because religion is usually a
Interesting.
thing, especially in this day and age where it hasn't become a normal. If anything, you kind of get mocked. If you're a
Right.
Christian,
Right.
it's
Right.
not
Yeah.
considered a cool thing to be
Mhm.
anymore.
Mhm.
In fact, it's quite hard to publicly be it.
Right.
And I think that's what makes confirmation right now in this time and this age so hard, is because
Or
it's
even
not
youth
just
ministry in general.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not just like you're trying to create vulnerability in a general sense,
Mhm.
in like emotional level and just human to human level, but you're trying to create it in a religious and spiritual
Right.
sense,
Yeah.
and like with a thing that's like one of the most important things in the world, and it's just crazy to process, and just something none of us at that age want to hear about,
Right.
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
kind of being fed down our throats with our families,
Exactly.
depending on our
Mhm.
background. Like, it's something most of the time when we're
Mhm.
kids we're forced to be at.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we have to deal with, like, you want to rebel at that age, you don't want to deal with it,
Right.
you don't want to try to act interested, and
Mhm.
like, it's hard because we now have this perspective as core team, now that we're in this stage of confirmation and we've been through it, not only like learning and being a student but now being a teacher in it. But we have both perspectives, but now I think sometimes it's hard to remember how much it was to be in that
Yeah.
position,
Yeah.
now that we're
Yeah.
in this
Yes.
position.
Yeah.
And I think
Yep.
those
Mhm.
moments you're like, wow, that used to be me.
It-
I
Yeah.
forget.
no. It really changes your perspective, like as a leader and as a kind of like as a teen in youth ministry versus being a leader in youth ministry. It kind of changes your perspective
Yeah.
a lot, and you know by
Yeah.
experience, that it's a shift. It's not just a shift in responsibility, but also a shift in point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of challenges, one thing that we're gonna go from a parish level to like a global level. All right. So the trend nowadays, sadly, is that a lot of young people are leaving, either number one, leaving the church, or number two, not considering themselves as not having any religious affiliation as early as pre-middle school. So, and that's a challenge as a youth minister for me, because like while you guys work mostly with high school, I work also with junior high. So it's kind of that's a really challenging stage, especially that if high schoolers have like attention span of 10 seconds, junior high has 5. So, but other than that,
Yeah.
so the trend is like people pre-junior high are leaving the church. Why do you think that's happening nowadays?
I would like to start
Yeah,
answering
of
this
course.
one.
Mhm.
First I'm first gonna talk about like a little church level, then like apply internationally.
Right.
So, like within the church, or like within like just going to mass every like Sunday, I feel like there are like moments where I know a majority of people don't do this, but I know some people that do.
Mhm.
So like you look around the church, you're like, oh, like why are you wearing that? Like it's not modest. Or like that person's wearing shorts. Why are they wearing shorts to church? Like that's too
Mm.
much cleavage. Or why are you wearing like sambas or something
Mm.
like that?
Mm.
And it's like that that little judgment, or like those little like judgments we make to everyone else, and like in like our own mind, where we like see all these flaws in other people, and are projecting like, oh, why aren't they like this perfect, or like why don't they uphold this like Catholic value, this like church doctrine, like uphold this church decision. And I feel like on like a national level nowadays, there's like this weaponization of Christianity with like just judgment to other people. We're projecting, sorry, of how other people should act, or like what type of Christian they should be. And I feel like now in like this social media age, now than ever, and like very influential like figures speaking out, famous people, our generation, or like the generation with like that grew up with social media just in like at their hands like 1 second, is like more exposed to this like weaponization of Christianity, where it's
Right.
just constant shame, shame, shame of like not upholding these values, like not looking, or like not like being with church decisions. And like I feel like the reason why a lot of people disconnect instead of like fighting with this like discernment, or instead of like turning to God, is because it's so much easier to just ignore it and like leave Christianity than it is to like really try to understand what's past this shame. And it's like we don't try to shame other people, but it's like a lot of the times we subconsciously do that. Or like there are a lot of people that just do it so like mindlessly that we don't realize that we are doing it ourselves, like even in like a local church perspective in our heads. And I feel like because of social media, it's just projecting at like a large level to the point where it's just hard for people to stick to the faith if you're just constantly feeling shame.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Did you? I want to add something. Or-
Well,
yeah.
I like would agree with that. It's kind of like dehumanizing, and I think a lot of, I know this from like a lot of people in my life. The like when people are extremist and they lose the ability to just look at people human to human in the church, and it becomes such a thing of like status and perfection, which is, in my opinion, I think most of us would agree this, are, I think, something we all talked about as core team, and I don't want to speak for people, you guys can correct me, but is that what should be taught, and the most important thing is that it's about love and forgiveness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that a church is a place for broken people and not for perfect people.
Exactly.
And I think that's what we've been trying to teach all the kids so hard, from our own trauma and from our
Right.
own hurt. And I think there's a lot of pain in the church, and I think that's a lot of the reason why people leave, is
Right.
because that's not what's put up front. That's not what's put as a priority. And
Right.
so with all this shame, it just doesn't make people want to show up, because that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
I think there's a lack of being able to relate as well. And I think something our church has been able to do is modernize to a point that it's more relatable to its audience.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also think that, of course, there's a certain importance to history and like what the actual religion is.
Tradition.
But
Yep.
there's tradition's very important, because you can't just like change a religion to fit what you want it to be.
Right.
But you have to be able to phrase it in a way and present it in a way that is digestible and relatable,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
not full of shame, and in fact in a way of like kindness instead.
Right. And that's why, that's the challenge for us, as a youth ministry, because we're also, we're ambassadors of the church on the level. And I always tell, our young people, you guys are not the church of tomorrow. You guys are the young church of today.
Yeah.
So by being leaders in youth ministry, by setting that example, we can now kind of shift that perspective and say, we're all broken, so you have a space, you have a place here at church. No, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what your background is. And that's the good thing about this, is that's the core message of the gospel, is that Jesus tells us, I have come for not for a certain group of people, but I've come for all people.
Yeah.
So, and that's a challenge for us. Whenever young people walk through our doors, and whether it's confirmation class, whether it's life nights, we want to welcome them. We want to accept them. We want to make sure that they know that they have a home in our parish, and that's the real responsibility, for us as youth ministers. You mentioned Sunday mass, so one thing I wanted to ask you guys is, with our 4 p.m. mass, we've kind of really transitioned that, and we're kind of still in the process of really wanting the 4 p.m. to be a youth oriented mass, and we've had amazing music at 4 p.m. We've had our young people start becoming lectors and start becoming greeters outside of confirmation, just the young people, just young Catholics in the city of Glendale. What would be a good way to kind of encourage young people to go to mass? Now that we have that one, like let's say for example, we have that one youth oriented mass where it's dynamic, the music's great, and the preaching is, you know, the preaching is universal. What would be a good how would do you think we could how do you think we can convince other young people to kind of go to Sunday mass? Yeah.
Got that.
I think
Lauren.
I got an answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like with like going to like a Catholic school, I feel like people are like or parents like force their kids to be like in like the Catholic like community.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of what brings them like away from like the church because like they feel like it was just like forced on them. But I feel like if they just kind of try to find like a reason like for themselves
Right.
instead of like why like just like from their parents, I feel like that could be like a really good reason or like a really good way to
To kind of
get the youth back into the church.
good. Alright, thank you.
I think there's a lot of scandal with this because there's a lot of scandal in the music part because I think we've done a lot of really big stepping stones in making our 4 p.m. mass more for the youth. I think the music has been one of the most amazing things ever.
Definitely.
Just because the reason why it's a bit scandalous is because a lot of very traditional Catholics don't agree with the change of the music, but I think that it's really powerful for the youth because when you hear a sound like that, it's a lot
Right.
more transformative and touching than the usual like more like opera traditional songs. Those are beautiful, but at that age in the high school age and like when we're younger trying to go to church isn't usually what's going to be the most
Right.
motivating to show up and listen to.
Right.
Now, I think a couple things that we've done that have been really nice to get people to show up is having all of us sit together in the front because there's
Right.
a lot of kids that don't have family that go.
Yes.
I think also as leaders breaking the stigma of like going on our knees and praying and just having an image of somebody of youth being comfortable enough and confident enough to let themselves be in deep prayer publicly. Because I know growing up in the church, I used to be scared to like take it seriously in mass because I'd be like, oh, is there somebody staring at me? And they'd be like, why are they spraying on their knees? Which is crazy to think that we have so much shame just even like being in the church, which is where you would take it seriously.
Right.
Same way that there's embarrassment in confirmation, which is the place you would think you can talk freely about your faith. But yet you're so self-conscious about how
You
the
put up
other
the
students
wall,
are
yeah.
watching you.
Yeah.
I think as somebody who has gone like college in Glendale, just wearing like clothing that has like merch of the church, basically not of our church but of like religion, I think that caused me to be a bit more confident about
Right.
like subtly showing that in the world, but also it means that more people come up to you if they relate to it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, are you a Christian too? And you're like, actually, yeah. And that's where I learned to have a lot more of a positive reaction and exchanges when in the past
Right.
that used to be something so fearful that I had to go in public and do that. And I think just small things that we've been doing have been making it so it's more welcoming for the
Right.
youth. And
Yeah.
then just being aware of our own image when we walk through the world and us being brave enough to be public about it allows the space for people to want to join and come in with us.
Exactly. Well, so I have one final question for you guys. What could you say to a teen right now who's watching this, who is experiencing doubt about about how effective God is working in their lives, or even doubting that God is actually even working in their lives, knowing you guys have seen how God has worked in your lives, in your own lives? what would be your message to someone who's watching this and is experiencing that little bit of doubt or struggle with their faith? Yeah.
Anyone want to go first?
Oh.
Yeah.
I should go.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
wanna
go
go?
ahead, Alejandro. Yeah.
So for someone like experiencing doubt in their faith,
Right.
coming from personal experience, definitely during hard times, it's expected.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you don't have someone to look to in that moment.
Right.
You're looking to God specifically in that hard moment when you're like, why aren't you answering my prayers and all that?
Mhm.
It's hard because it's you don't know how he works. But you have to trust in the process, basically.
Right.
And that's what I had to do. It was hard to trust it at first because it's like it was consistent. It was well, the moment I'm talking about is during COVID specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I lost a lot of people, and it was hard. Specifically because one, I couldn't attend mass during that time. I don't think any of us could.
Mm-hmm.
But also specifically because, like, despite the prayers, I just kept losing people,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I just had to trust in the process,
Right. Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
and for people saying that like maybe that's not enough, that they find it like not um worth it, where they're saying like waiting isn't enough, like I need results now. Um, good things come to those who wait, and
Absolutely.
it good things definitely happened after I waited.
Mm-hmm.
I found better connection to family members that are still here,
Mm-hmm.
and I found a better appreciation for life
Mm-hmm.
to that point where I accepted all the loss
Mm-hmm.
and accepted that the people that I lost were in a better place due to
Mhm.
that, and I became happy instead of sad. And
Right.
well, during that time, there was a lot of anger being
Mhm.
built up,
Yep.
specifically, and uh, it all got released eventually.
Yep.
So over time, God works in mysterious ways,
Mm-hmm.
and it just has to take time. And
That's yeah.
yeah,
Definitely. That's really powerful, Alejandro. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else?
That's hard to
Brandon.
get after. Wow, that's a. Okay. That's like. Oh my gosh, that's so sad.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, adding on to what you said, it really is hard to, or I don't really know, yeah, hard to trust the process because it's so easy to just let go and just like leave it in the past.
Yeah.
But you really do have to like trust in this process and know that there is better. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's Romans 8:18 that says the pain you're experiencing does not compare to the joy that's coming. So really, like you said, the more you wait, the more you're blessed. And to people that are like doubting, honestly, you just have to persevere. You really have to trust in this plan. It's hard to say,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really something they have to do because it'll be worth all of it in the end. I like to say that I'm living like an answered prayer every single day
Right.
because I pray every day and I thank him every day and I ask him for stuff, maybe like not right now, but in the future for what I want. But he knows better than what I want. And so, yeah, I like to say that like I'm living an answered prayer in his way, whatever way that
Mhm.
is.
I think
Amen.
that was also
Yeah.
really good. I think
Very powerful. Mhm.
like what you said, I think in moments of loss is when faith becomes so in your face
Mhm.
and it becomes kind of something that like gets slapped in front of you and you can't really
Mhm.
ignore it.
Right.
Because I also in moments where I had to deal with loss, I think I got to experience seeing people in my life who were losing the same person that didn't have any faith
Right.
cry about the fact that they wish they had that ability to have
Mm.
hope. I will say like when you go through that kind of loss, even if we know or like I think when you're raised with the idea that there's a God that exists, it's kind of helpful because it seems more tangible for your brain to process. But that doesn't mean that you fully understand the fact that there actually is a God that exists.
Exactly.
And I think something about death and loss is that it kind of throws you through like this whirlwind of just,
Mhm.
well, what really happens after death. And like when you
Right.
get faced with it, it forces you to have to think about the things that Christianity and religion's all about. Because the whole thing is that we're not here to be just focusing on what we have on our earthly life, but what happens afterwards.
Right.
And that's kind of a strange thing. I think I recently saw something that was explaining, like, oh, like, you trust your pilot even though, like, you don't see them, that the airplane's gonna work, or that you trust that, like, the people that make your food are gonna do a good job making
Right.
your food even though you've never seen them in your life before. And, like, you trust all these things on a regular day life that without having to see the person on the other side doing it. Yet for some reason we can't trust that there's a God doing things for us without even seeing him. And I think a lot of us, like, we need visual proof for, like,
Right.
a prayer being answered to like prove to us something is real. And so I think that can be frustrating when you, like, everyone tells you be patient, it's not going to be obvious, but at the end of the day it's still frustrating and it kind of beats you down. I think my biggest advice is, like, be okay with not knowing and know that you might not understand everything right now, and owe it to yourself to give you something to just keep showing up, knowing that it's going to be pretty draining and tiring at times. But, like, I know I've recently gone through discoveries of my own self where it just made me fall into questioning, and I was praying every time we were at church, and I was like, well, I have to figure this out. I have to understand what's happening, and I have to understand what this means and how it works in the church and how it works in the Bible. But sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not going to make sense when you want it to make sense. And one day it will make sense in the future.
Exactly.
And you just don't know when that time's going to come. So I think in those moments, just surround yourself with people that are going to be there to support you. Like core team leaders or people in confirmation.
Exactly. Well,
Can I add on?
yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. So first off, I would say to not feel shamed, first of all. Like, especially in moments of doubt, it's like, oh, I can't even speak right now, of doubt. It's like when you're looking to other people who have such strong faith and you're like, why can't I be like them? It's like, first of all, it's not something to be ashamed of. It's like a lot of people have very strong in tune faith, either grew up in a really religious household or have been through many stages of their life already. It's like they've discerned, have been through the moments you've been through or going through. And they've definitely been in moments of doubt with their faith. I don't know anyone that has had like that strong of a faith their whole entire lives. Like, it's definitely like just an up and down journey. It's like, it's not like one like straight line. And then secondly, I would say, well, there's a saying that faith without works is nothing. Right? Like, for instance, in like homelessness, it's like you can't just pray for homelessness to end. Like, you have to go out, do stuff, or like push policies in order to stop homelessness. It's like you can't pray like for gun violence, and you have to like push forward for it to end. It's like same thing with I'd feel with our own sense of misery and self, or it's like things within our own lives. It's like we can't just consistently pray in order to like stop suffering. I feel like we also have to take work within our own lives to push forward. If we're like in like a sense of misery in our lives, and it's like, oh, we're not doing the things that we used to do that usually made us happy, it's like, I feel like even though it's like very hard at times, there's a time where we have to really trust in God, or like you could pray to him, but at the same time with prayer comes like a sense of helping yourself as well. Through like doing things that make you happy, hanging out with your friends, not like disassociating with everything, even though it feels so hard not to, or like to be stuck in that position. There's definitely a moment of time where you could, or after that time of grief and despair, that you realize that, wait, there's things I could do to alleviate the stress. And when you're like stuck in that like alleviation way of out of stress, that's when people's faith journey start to like really go up. It's like you come back from this like moment of doubt.
So like I was saying at the start, like after 8th grade, like I didn't do confirmation, and like at Inca we would go to mass like every single week, like on Mondays or something like that. But after I graduated in 8th grade, I like didn't even really go to mass like every single week. I would just go like maybe on like Christmas and like other like events. And so like I wasn't really like with my faith, I guess, for like 3 years ish. And so I feel like I would only during like the really hard times is when I would like try to connect with my faith. But I feel like doing that just like isn't like the best, because like I feel like you should always like be like consistent with your faith to have it,
Right.
I guess, like work. So I guess like now that I'm going to like church every single weekend again, I feel like or also I forgot to mention, like I feel like when during those 3 years that I wasn't like going to the church, I would just have like random moments where it was like I would just think of like I want to just like go to church, but I never, I guess, like followed through with that. So I feel like something I would say to like the teens or people who are having doubts, I'll just say to like follow like your heart and like follow your thoughts of like what you think is best for you.
Right.
Wait, sorry, adding on to that. That just reminded me. I really feel like in like a moment of doubt, or like you should really like research your faith or look into it. Like I feel like there is so many people in the church that follow the faith and doubt their faith, and yet really don't know a lot of things about the faith. Like a lot of people don't know how the Bible was constructed, like which church councils meant to construct the Bible, what was in or out of the Bible.
Right.
And I feel like those are like doubts. Like a lot of doubt comes from answers like back then, or like things that people decided back then. It's like, why was this made, or like just in general, like how was this made? Like you look it up. It's like if you want to like really understand like doubts in your faith, try to like research the answer.
Yeah.
It's like there are like so many resources online. Obviously, look at both sides. Like, and it's like, and then you decide for yourself. Like discernment is just deciding for yourself. And I feel like you could. It doesn't matter personally. Like me personally, it will definitely matter for like a lot of people when I say this. But I feel like faith is really personal. It's like your decision if you want to do it or not.
Right.
And I wouldn't like ever shame anyone for like following the faith or not following the faith. And in a moment of doubt or years of doubt, and like you're looking into it and you don't want to follow the faith, and it's like then you just don't want to follow the faith. It's like that easy. Like you just discern for yourself as long ever as you want to with your research, talking to people. You could like talk to priests, talk to non-religious people, and you have, I wouldn't say a lot of your life left, because I don't know how much of your life you got left, but it's like you're surrounded by a lot. Whoa, like you're surrounded by so many people. Like just talk to them. Like talk to everyone. Like talk to people from different religions, how their religion works. It's just like just talking. I love talking. Just talk. Yeah.
I think like talking about what Christian's saying, I think like broadening your perspective. I think sometimes we can like get in our heads like this when we're just trying to figure everything out.
Right.
But also like there's so much power in your perspective if you just decide to kind of like look around and see what good things happen around you.
Right.
That can be really motivating.
Oh yeah.
And I also think like learning something that kept me really strong in my faith, that was like proof to me that there was a God that existed, was like seeing miracles that had happened, or looking at just like more factual based proof of like how the Bible was written, and things that are just like created in our world and in our universe and in our human bodies that are just like it can't be a coincidence.
Yeah, exactly.
And those things can kind of like be a push when it's so hard emotionally to believe it. But also like talking about like it's not shameful to not want to be doing it, because being a Christian is really hard. Like not only just publicly but spiritually. Like when I fully turned away from my faith for a while, it was because as a kid I was so strong in my prayer that like spiritual warfare was really traumatizing for me, because it's a very real thing. It could either be that you experience it in a real way, where like you can feel the spiritual warfare that's happening, or it could happen in ways that are invisible to you but you can feel the effects of it. And that's something that is just a reality with Christianity, and deciding to tap into a higher way of thinking, because it's not just the physical world and what you see in front of you, it's what's happening behind everything. And it's happening in our music, it happens in our film, like it happens in all the industries, it's happening every single day. It's there. And when you're choosing to be a Christian and believe in it, you're basically saying that you can't be blind and like ignore it anymore, which means that all these things that are happening behind the scenes, like you actually have to feel in a real time. And that's a lot, and not something that I know as a teenager I wanted to deal with.
Wow, guys! Like you guys give such beautiful answers, and such, like perspective widening stuff that, that we want to share with other people, especially young people. But thank you guys so much for participating in this podcast. So once again, guys, um this is Becoming Dynamic Catholics. Hope, the hope our conversation today kind of, enlightened, our viewers.
There's still a lot of beauty, even
There is.
all the sadness.
Yes, there is. Amen. So don't forget to subscribe to our Incarnation Catholic Church's podcast. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our Instagram, Youth Ministry Instagram. It's Inca Glendale _YM. We are on Instagram and on TikTok, and you can catch all of our fun stuff there. So once again, thank you guys so much. This is Becoming Dynamic Catholics. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
That button,
Bye.
subscribe. That notification.
Amen. Mm.